Hi everyone, welcome back to Baby Nuggets with Danielle. Today we're going to do something a little bit different. I have two wonderful mom friends here with me to talk about postpartum depression and anxiety and share their stories with us. One of the things that can happen in those first 1 to 3 weeks after giving birth is you really experience those baby blues, a super cute name for something that's not cute at all. You feel feelings of sadness or irritability, anxiety, overwhelm, just that whole adjustment and your hormones clearing themselves out. After that 3-week mark, you might start to feel something a little bit different, and that's where we start to look at postpartum anxiety and depression. In fact, we kind of look at it on a continuum. Some people feel it mild, more moderate, or severe, and it can happen right after birth and lead up all the way to the first year of life. So I'd love for Lucy and Jen to share their stories with us.
It wasn't exactly, thinking, oh yeah, I have postpartum, but I definitely knew I had like crazy amounts of anxiety, where it was like, nobody is getting this, like nobody is hearing me or seeing me the way that I need to be heard and seen right now. And it's really, important because I'm more stressed out than I've ever been.
Yeah, that level of stress, that level of anxiety, that level of isolation and feeling alone. The number one thing we say is to find a support network who gets it.
Right.
Whether you're in a postpartum group where people are talking about having postpartum, or whether you're just in a Mommy&Me atmosphere or group of some kind where you can kind of say, hey, this is what's going on, and have some validation and some support. It's one of the number one ways to kind of address and deal with postpartum challenges.
I didn't even know that anxiety was depression, and I did feel that. I remember lying awake in bed thinking, well, he's going to be up in 3 hours, so there's no point in even going to sleep. And now now that I have some perspective, I'm like, that's crazy. But at the time, it just felt very hopeless and overwhelming, and I really couldn't see that it was a finite period of time. I didn't realize that it was so linked to my hormones, to what I was going through emotionally, and to the fact that I wasn't sleeping in very long chunks. And once I managed to piece that together, then I was like, oh, I see. This all fits together. There is going to be a way out of this. But at the time, it felt very hopeless.
How did you guys kind of handle feeling like that? I mean, what did you do that made a difference?
I think being honest with myself and not getting caught up in this mommy thing of every second should be so amazing. And if my friends are saying, God, isn't it just the best thing in the world? Being able to say sometimes it's really boring. Sometimes changing another diaper is boring. And I remember one friend saying, oh, I've never been bored by my baby. And just being like, really? You've never ever felt bored? When you've spent 3 days in the house and someone's spitting up on you? That's it's okay to feel like that. It's okay to own it and sometimes say, today's been a hard day. That doesn't mean you don't love your kid.
I think you just brought up something super important, Lucy, which is, one of the things that helps is getting validation and support, but then sometimes we put it out there, the responses we get don't really support us. And so then we sometimes don't start putting it out there, and when really we need to put it out there to get, the reality and the honesty and of what's happening, because that's the first step in getting what we need for help. So Jen, do you want to share with us what you did that you found was really helpful for you to kind of transition out of the postpartum?
I did, do an event, a community event that I had started a few years previous and did it annually, and I wasn't sure if I was going to be up for it this year, but I decided it was actually something I wanted to do and that might, actually ground me back into my own life. And, it kind of helped me just, kind of separate a little bit me from my baby, which was, it's a very delicate process, and I was a little touchy about it, but it really, I think, helped me to have, something that I needed to be responsible for, do other than just my son. And, I think that was very helpful to me.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things we really look at for postpartum support is trying to create an experience in your life, even if it's 20 minutes a week or an hour a week or 2 hours a week, that really kind of separates you from that overwhelm of postpartum and the anxiety or the sadness and all of what you might be feeling or experiencing, and kind of reconnect in some way to the feelings or experiences or thoughts you had pre-baby, to kind of let those come back in to help balance it a bit and feel like you can transition back to feeling kind of more as a whole person in some way.
Well, it's like, I mean, not since being a teenager do you have such an identity crisis. You're like a completely different person. It's a lot.
So the most important thing to think about from today is that reaching out to get support is really crucial and helpful. Whether you feel these experiences in a mild, moderate, or severe way, they are all valid and important to get support on. Thank you so much for joining us today and hearing Lucy and Jen's stories, and we look forward to seeing you next time.